Prize Picks, run your game when you want. Tyvis, you were not here yesterday when we talked about Jameis Winston's debut, so this topic gives you a chance to weigh in on Jameis's first game as the Browns quarterback, but also pushing it forward. What are the chances Jameis can end up being the Browns' long-term answer at quarterback?
When you say long-term,
long-term.
What are you talking about?
They signed him to a 2-3 year deal, maybe longer, but they don't draft a quarterback in this year's draft because they feel comfortable that Jameis is the guy moving forward.
So this is what I'll say. This is what I'll say about that. First of all, there's two people on this Browns roster right now that they're going to look at heavy for the rest of this season because they can really influence the draft, and that's Jameis Winston and DeJuan Jones. If those two guys, if Jameis goes out there, he's not throwing for 45. Let it go, G. If he goes out there, he throws for 4,000. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Let's go, Tyvis. Let's go, Tyvis. Let's go.
400
Let's
yards
go.
a game.
Let's go, Tyvis. Yeah. Let's go. I know you've been waiting. Come on, dog.
If he goes out there, he plays well. I think you do. I think you don't make the same mistake that you made last year. The one thing that I will say about this front office is that they do learn from their previous mistakes. You know, we had a D tackle problem. They fixed that. Had a wide receiver problem. They went out and they tried to address that. So they do a better job with that. Last year you had this quarterback. You had Deshaun go down with an injury. You decided to go with Joe and you let Joe go at the end of the year. Joe actually looks really good in Indianapolis right now. At least I know he won't be tired. He won't call himself out of the game when he's tired. But that's a whole.
Have you ever heard of that?
Blew my mind. He said I was tired. I said what? In the third quarter? Anyways, that's neither here nor there. Back to Jameis. I think that if Jameis balls out this year, one, Deshaun ain't coming back for next year to start the season anyways. So I think that you need to have somebody that's brought confidence, a guy that guys will get behind, that guys will play hard for. Jameis will be that answer. Now, if he does play really well, then you're not picking in the top 5 anyways because you would assume that they won a lot more games. With that being said, yeah, I would sign him to a 2 or 3 year deal because now you can take that first round pick and maybe you can go get another wide receiver or you can go get another corner because to be honest with you, I'm on the Travis Hunter thing. If Denzel can't come back, I'm going with Travis Hunter in the first round no matter what. I don't know what we got to trade, but that's what's going to happen. But I think that would be really good. And like I say, Jameis to me, did he play perfect? No. He has some plays out there. But, you know, so did Joe Flacco. Everybody loved Joe Flacco. It's not like he didn't throw picks. He just threw more touchdowns than picks. And Jameis to me does the exact same thing. I have to see it obviously over a more period of time because I'm not going to ignore the fact that Baltimore was 32nd in defense and they were without their starting 2 corners. Can't ignore that fact. But I did like what I seen from Jameis. He got that ball out of his hand before receivers was out to break. He put a lot of them passes on the money. You could see the chemistry was there. Guys ran harder routes. And he is not scared to take the shot. And like I said, for them to call that play to Tillman at the end of the game with the game on the line, like 2nd and 15 as a DB, I'm thinking, all right, they're trying to get like 5, 6, 7 yards to make it third and manageable. I wouldn't have thought they would have threw a touchdown. And the fact that they did that, like, that shows me that Jameis got a lot of confidence in his guys. And I think that's something that these receivers lost with Deshaun. I think they lost confidence in themselves. You know, Jason sat up here and said they got the worst separation in the league. And you start hearing stuff like that. And it's like, why can't I get the ball? Like, am I not open? Maybe I ain't running these routes good. Maybe I ain't that good. But then you get a guy like Jameis out there that's throwing guys open and getting the ball to you, like, man, okay. So now you get the confidence back, and now you see guys start to take off. So it would be hard for me to go away from that. Like, even if after this season's over, if these receiving core does look really well, like, it's hard for me to go get another quarterback to replace that because you're taking the guy away that brought confidence back, not just in the receivers, but the rest of this team. And people in the locker room are going to be like, you already did that with Joe Flacco. You cannot do that again with Jameis Winston.
I love the Tyvis. You know, we don't want to be an organization that is always learning but never coming into the knowledge of. You're always learning, right? We just had Joe Flacco here last year. And people said, Joe Flacco, hey, we couldn't do it. He put up the numbers, he did what he did. And then all of a sudden, we arguing back and forth about why did we let Flacco go, why we do this, why we do that.
And Jameis is young.
Younger.
He's, what, 30?
He's 30 years old. I'll go back to what I talked about yesterday, Bull, and I was sitting there thinking about it more. the San Francisco 49ers was in a specific same situation. We talked about they had Jimmy Garoppolo. They thought they can get better. They went and got Trey Lance, gave up all this draft capital, figured out that neither one of them weren't that good. And you know how they saved themselves and are able to still be contenders today? Because they had the guts to say, I'm going to roll with this 6th-round draft pick, Brock Purdy, or whatever the case may be, and we're going to roll the dice on it. And they didn't half do it. They just said, I'm in on it. Like, this is how we going to move. We're going to give him plays to throw. We're going to put confidence and roll confidence into the dude.
It's a similar situation.
Similar.
I mean, they went with Trey Lance. Trey Lance got hurt. Brock Purdy comes in, and he balls. Trey Lance gets healthy the next year. They decide to go back to Trey Lance. Trey Lance get hurt again. Brock Purdy comes in and takes off, and they never look back. The difference between the Browns and the 49ers at this current moment right now is that the 49ers admitted that they made a mistake by getting rid of Trey Lance. The Browns have yet to address the fact that they made a mistake.
And you got an opportunity. Like, Deshaun Watson got hurt. He came in. And guys, I'm just asking. Maybe it's just me. And you let me know in the comment section when you watch this video. Which way do we want it? Like, we just sat up here for 7 weeks talking about how anemic the offense was, how terrible it was, how that we was the worst offense in the league. Somebody comes in off the bench and hasn't started in 2 years.
300 yards.
And gives you 340 yards, 3 touchdowns.
27 points. Hit all the marks that we've been trying to hit.
And throws a game-winning touchdown in your stadium.
That we was yet to win in.
And now today I wake up, bad job. Where's Lima at? Come on, Lima. You talk about Lima and Jason Lloyd. Bad job out of you. You're talking about trading them for a 3rd-round pick? What do you people want?
Jason Lloyd said trade.
Jason Lloyd said, well, you can get his draft, his capital. We're going to be able to get a 3rd round. What do we want here, people? Do we want production?
It sounds like
no?
they're trying to. What are you trying to tank the season?
I don't understand it.
I think.
Jason's point was, if you're not going to make the playoffs, trade him because you get a draft pick to build for the future.
That's wild. That's wild.
So you're not going to even give yourself the opportunity because that would mean you would have to trade him by what, Tuesday? This upcoming Tuesday?
Yes.
I think next.
So you're not even going to give yourself a chance? How you
from
explain that?
No, Jason said he wouldn't do anything till after the Chargers game.
Okay.
So he said, let's see how the Chargers game goes then.
If they lose to the Chargers, I can understand. Now,
Okay.
listen, Jameis Winston played 1 game. So to say now, well, we're going to sign him to an extension, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, we don't
I
have to sign him
said
today.
after the season.
Now, is Jameis Winston based on the definition you gave, my answer?
He said 2 to 3 years.
But he also said, well, I wouldn't draft a quarterback now. See, I don't agree with that. Now,
It depends on where you at, though.
well, yes.
Where
Now-
are you
now
at in
here's
the
the thing.
draft?
When teams are desperate for a quarterback, often they'll draft a quarterback, even if that quarterback's not worthy of being drafted where they drafted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daniel
Right?
Jones.
And that's a flaw that bad teams often make.
Yes.
And the Browns have done that before. And that should never be done. Whether you think Jameis Winston can be their quarterback for the next 2 years or not, they should only draft a quarterback in the 1st round if they truly believe that guy's a 1st-round player.
But I feel like there's a specific type of quarterback that, like, I don't know if they was to get Shador or Cam, would that be perfect for them?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Ty, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. You never know for sure. But as an organization, you have to make a decision, whether it's Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, whoever's involved with the decision. If they decide in this draft that they have the opportunity to draft a quarterback that they believe is going to be the next great quarterback in the NFL, then they should absolutely draft him.
It depends on when you pick him. If you picking like 15th or something.
Well, but maybe there's a guy. Again, I'm not saying they're right, but maybe there's a guy that's going to drop to 15 that they think is fantastic.
This team
and other teams are sleeping on him.
This team need to find a quarterback. They need to let the athleticism thing go. I think that's the problem. You get caught up in the athleticism. Let the athleticism thing go because your offensive line show you that they can't really block for an athletic quarterback.
Well, I mean, it depends.
I'm just telling you, get the guy with the big arm that can make the big throw.
Why, you'd pass on Jaden Daniels if you could get him?
No.
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, right. What I'm saying is it's opportunity cost. You look at it, and I'm just asking people to just look at the landscape. You said Kevin Stefanski gets the best out of most of the quarterbacks he's around, correct? You got Jameis Winston. He's 30 years old. Mm-hmm. He's in your building. The guys know him. He has a great arm. He's a former number 1 overall pick. It's not like he was some guy, some 6th-round guy.
Yeah.
He's put up numbers in this league before, right? You could say, well, he throws a lot of interceptions. Okay, well, like you have an opportunity to either try to coach that, minimize that, or at this point in time say that skill set is going to be a part of what elite quarterbacks do. Patrick Mahomes is going to try to fit it in there. We should understand today that playing safe like Deshaun Watson was doing is not the way that it gets done in this league. And if I'm looking around the league, Bull, and I say Geno Smith, I see Baker Mayfield, I see Jared Goff, I see all of these guys that Sam Darnold, that were once upon a time looked at as out of the league, bust, terrible. They go to another place, get it together, and what it does, it buys you more time. It gives you an opportunity to not have to do what you're saying do.
Yeah.
Go force another quarterback.
Yeah, I got to see the rest of this year before I make any decision.
I mean, we all do.
Right,
we all do.
But if Jameis plays well, I would bring him back for another year. I wouldn't want to give him a 3-year contract personally, but I'd bring him back for another year.
And you still draft
and
a
I would still potentially, if I believed the guy was good enough, draft a quarterback and know that I still have Jameis. I can start. Look at Minnesota. Like Minnesota's plan was not to start Sam Darnold
At all.
It was to start J.J. McCarthy, and Sam Darnold and McCarthy
I
got
think
hurt.
it was a bridge.
Well,
thing.
it might have been.
It was like Drake May and Jacoby Brissett.
Right. It was going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
Now Darnold's played great, and McCarthy got hurt. So who knows? Mm-hmm. And that could be.
They stuck in a situation over there. Darnold keep playing well.
Is that a situation though? Would you rather be in that situation
Give me
or
that.
a situation that the Browns have been in so many times?
Give me that. Give me that. We'll figure it out.
If I'm the Vikings and I still think J.J. McCarthy's good, I'm in a great position.
Technically, the Falcons gonna be in the same thing if Michael Penix turned out to be really good.
Because think about it, some team somewhere wants a quarterback.
That's right.
You have 2 of them.
But the thing is, we talked about it with Bernie. Like, I think it's beneficial now for having the quarterback come in and sit for a year to learn the system and everything.
It is, but most teams don't do that.
I'm saying. If you keep Jameis around, you at least.
And so, no matter how Jameis plays, I actually don't have a problem with keeping him for.
Well, I mean, they still gonna have DTR on the roster, no matter what.
Right, but Jameis, there's a certain level to his floor. Mm-hmm. He's at worst can be a competent NFL quarterback.
What's scary? I'm gonna ask both of y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's years in Tampa Bay. I go back and look. He threw for 4,000 yards twice. He threw for 5,000 yards once.
Yeah.
He was playing very well before he got injured in New Orleans. What is the apprehensiveness about? What keeps you from saying he possibly can be looked at as a starter moving forward?
Well, I mean,
the fact that
I don't think it's that he can be a starter moving forward. Is he a good enough starter to win with?
Okay.
There's not 32 quarterbacks in the league better than Jameis Winston.
Okay.
I don't think.
But
I don't know if he's high enough that you can win. Now, are things trending more towards running and defense a little bit the last year or so? And maybe you can once again win with a 2nd or 3rd tier quarterback that I think you couldn't have 5 years ago. That might be the case. The problem, the Darnold and Geno Smith comparisons, I don't buy because those guys were never good before. Those guys were never good, and now they're good.
Didn't Sean
the Baker and Jared Goff comparisons to Jameis fit, not only because they showed flashes with their first team and then fell off, but also because, like Jameis, Baker and Jared Goff were extremely turnover prone. Mm-hmm. Baker, in fact, I think since 2018, I believe, Baker and Goff are 1 and 2 in turnovers.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Now, the difference is that Goff has gotten better with that.
Yeah.
Baker did a better job last year. He really, in Tampa, until the last 3 games, had done a much better job of not turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. And now in his last 3 games, he's had 7 turnovers. So all of a sudden, that's kind of caught up with him again. That's the question for Jameis.
So you need you say,
and I don't want to fundamentally change who he is. Jameis, the positive of Jameis is that he plays with his balls.
Yeah.
Right? He don't care. I'm going to throw it.
Pause,
big pause.
I may.
I see what you're saying.
I may screw up. I may throw a pick, but I'm going for it. And there are other quarterbacks like that. Now Mahomes, his turnovers are high this year. Mm-hmm. They've never been before this year. This year they're high. But you have to be. You can't throw 30 interceptions.
I just think that we'll find out.
Yeah.
Because the thing about Joe Flacco is that he had a lot of picks, but he also had like a lot of great plays.
He did.
He brought a lot of people alive back to this offense. For me, if Jameis can go to Pittsburgh and win in Pittsburgh, or if he goes toe to toe with Patrick Mahomes, like if they in that, like it's done. Like I don't know what else we need to talk about.
It's his ceiling. Just really quick, ceiling. What is it? Top what quarterback?
You think they can win a Super Bowl with him?
What's his ceiling? The best he's gonna play? If he plays the best he can play? Where do you find him? Because the soundbite says, "Hey, when I'm at the best, I'm a damn good starting quarterback."
Oh, when he's at his best,
at his best,
top 10.
At his best,
I don't think he's top 10.
He's top 16,
top 10.
I think he's in that next group.
That man would.
Okay. I think
that man will throw for 400 yards in the game if you let him. So and that's his best.
But most quarterbacks, in the NFL
he said at his best.
At his best.
At his best. So you looking at 400 yards, 4 or 5 touchdowns.
I think if you get him to 10 to 12, you can win with that. I think you win the Super Bowl with 10 to 12 today.
Well, Nick Chubb got to get back to
10 to 12 quarterback.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm just not sure he's we need it to play out more.
The beautiful thing is we only have one game of data to go off. The one game was a lot of fun. It could completely change on Sunday against the Chargers. We'll have this conversation throughout the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, are we having this conversation if Kyle Hamilton holds on to that pick?
It's a valid point.
And Jameis would have still played an overall very good game.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's a different conversation.